So when you look at it, what is the day in the life of the announcer like in WWE? Like you're hired, like what's the day in the life look like?
So basically, I would leave every Monday night on the red eye. See, the thing that sucked actually is that there were so many more shows, live, because I only did the live shows. I didn't do any dark matches. So I only performed on Tuesdays doing SmackDown, ECW Superstars, and occasionally Raw. And so I would fly out on a Monday night red eye from LA because I was living in LA at the time. Fly usually to the East Coast, so I wouldn't get there until 5 a.m. or something like that on Tuesday. I would get in a car, go to my hotel. Luckily they had, I don't know how they got me such an early check-in, but they did. And so I could go in, I would immediately go to sleep, wake up around 2 to head to the arena to then be able to sound check and then get hair and makeup ready with the makeup artists and hair people at the arena, and then showtime.
Do you rely on like Justin Roberts or like other announcers like to kind of help you? Because sometimes when you get thrust into things, you're like, I don't even know who this guy is, or how do I say this, or you know what I mean? It's like sometimes like Alberto Del Rio, like you got to some certain guys got to pronounce their names differently.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yes, they definitely helped, but honestly, it was like a very quick tutorial. I got to be real
Yeah.
with you. I was kind of just left to my own devices to figure it out.
Okay.
To be honest.
When you're there, do you talk to the other wrestlers like, hey, what, where do you want to be from, or like, do you go that much into detail when you're ring announcing?
Well, they actually give you all of that information. So I have it in advance, like with sheets where I can study it with their weights, with all of that sort of thing. And the one thing that they do tell you is they want you to kind of be familiar with their intro music too, because you kind of know which next fight is coming up, but sometimes they can change it and you're already out there. So you need to be able to kind of think on the fly and recognize a different theme song so that you can introduce someone else if that's the case. I think that maybe only happened to me once. They're pretty good about having it all kind of locked and loaded storyline wise. So I never really had to switcheroo, while I'm up there, which was great.
Yep.
Because, I think sometimes when that would happen, the one time where, a different music played, I was like, wait, did they just accidentally play like the wrong music? Should I still announce the same thing or should I not? So I ended up doing the other wrestler and it was correct and whatever. But you just never know, because you go up there thinking that one thing's going to happen. And then when that changes, that can definitely be a little confusing at times. But like I said, that only happened one time during my time. So
Do they tell you in your earpiece, or do they even give you a heads up, or you just got to be ready?
no, there's no earpiece.
Oh, okay.
And you're up there with just like a handheld mic in front of 50,000 people in the middle of a ring. There's no way that anyone can really tell you.
Yep.
Unless it's like in the middle of a match and someone tells you, like when you're on the sidelines and like, like at the ring, at ringside, and somebody can tell you then before the next one. But otherwise, if it's the first match and you've already done your entry walk in, really the only way to know is if they somehow change the intro music and oh, that's not this wrestler's intro music, that's this wrestler's intro music. So then you just know to say different wrestler.
So how do you get your style? Do they say like how they want you to be, or you do that on your own?
So they were like, so I mean, they definitely, they want cocktail dress, sort of thing. Um, they didn't really want stilettos on the mat because they had issues before with girls digging holes into the mat. So, but I am just like a firm believer that I think a cocktail dress with wedges just looks super trashy. So I got these like rubber, like heel stopper things that like go on top, like under the heel.
Yep.
So that like it made it thicker, but it's like clear, so you can't like see it. So I used to wear those. And I actually they would give me a stipend for clothing so that I could, get new dresses for each time. But instead of buying the dresses, I just hired a stylist that would give me like 3 different options each week, drop them off at my house with jewelry, with shoes, etc., which was a much better deal because then I had options. I could get a dress that was, a lot more expensive than maybe the price point that they had given me because it was just for loan. So there's a lot of PR houses in LA that will loan dresses to actors for red carpet events, to celebrities for interviews or for live TV performances or, different talk shows and things like that. And this was definitely like one of those sorts of things. So it definitely wasn't hard for me to kind of like coordinate a deal where I could, get really amazing couture dresses sent to me. And then I just return them once I've worn them.
Nice, very smart. I'm always curious,
Mhm.
like because technically, like the clothing stuff is for television, so it's like, wow, shouldn't they be paying? So I was always curious if like they stepped up or not, or if they were like, well, you got to
They
invest
did
in
pay
yourself.
for it. They did
Yeah,
pay for it. They
yeah,
gave
that's
me a
great.
stipend for it. It was up to me to how I wanted to spend that stipend.
Gotcha.
And I decided that I could get more bang for my buck by giving that to a stylist and having them bring me really nice dresses that I wouldn't have been able to buy with the stipend that they gave me. And because of the fact that it's not like I'm going to wear, I can't really necessarily wear these dresses on TV again because I've already worn them. It works out better this way because and I just feel like less wasteful than just buying a new dress every week that I like, God knows when I'm going to wear it again. So it just felt like the better thing all around to kind of do.
Yeah, smart. How about announcing style? Like, do you, base it off of somebody? Do you do like your own thing as far as like how you're going to pronounce the names and like how your style? You're like old school Howard Finkel. He was very
Right.
up and down. You know what I mean? Like in that deep voice. Like, so how do you get the announcing style?
So, I before doing WWE, I was an on-air red carpet host for Access Hollywood. I also done a lot of other hosting. I hosted my own show called Real Access. That was kind of like a teen version of Access Hollywood, and then I'd done a bunch of other hosting. And so, I think bringing a lot of energy and charisma to it, but also, as a female, I have like a lower voice and a raspier voice for a female. So I guess I'm a little bit more aesthetically pleasing when it comes to radio or podcasting or, hosting and announcing. So that part kind of came naturally.